The human named Daniel stepped through the fractured hull of the derelict vessel with careful strides. His boots pressed against scraps of metal that groaned under each shift of weight. The emergency lights of his suit flickered a quiet amber glow across the hollow corridors. His breath sounded steady inside the helmet, but anyone listening closely would have sensed the tension beneath the calm surface. He had received a faint distress signal during a scouting mission and chose to investigate alone, knowing every moment might determine whether someone lived or died. As he moved deeper inside, the air turned cold enough to bite through his suit. He could not identify the source of the temperature drop, and his visor warned him that oxygen levels remained unstable. Yet something inside him urged him forward. He was human, and humanity had chosen long ago to meet fear with action. The silence broke with a whisper that slid against his hearing like a trembling cry. He stopped. The sound repeated. It was faint, softer than wind, yet shaped enough to resemble a voice. He followed it. The corridor widened into a chamber that had once served as an observation deck. Shattered glass framed a view of drifting stars. In the center of the room, he found a figure collapsed on the floor. The figure appeared humanoid, yet not fully human. Luminescent markings crossed her skin like flowing rivers of light. Her features carried a strange grace, sharper than human lines, gentle yet fierce beneath exhaustion. She breathed in shallow gasps. Daniel hurried to her side. His instincts pushed past hesitation. She needed help. He knelt and checked her vital signs. They fluctuated between strong spikes and weak fades. He tried to stabilize her with basic medical tools, but nothing he carried responded to her unusual biology. When her eyes opened, he froze. They glowed with a crimson shade that brightened in the dim room. She spoke in a weak voice. Her words vibrated through the air with layered tones. He could not understand her language, yet her expression carried fear, hunger, and something close to despair. She reached a trembling hand toward him. He recognized the gesture not as a threat but a plea. Daniel tapped his translator. It crackled, adjusted, then began processing her speech. Her next words reached him with clarity. She said she needed energy. She said her body required an essence similar to what humans carried in their blood. It was how her species survived. She said she had not fed for many cycles. She said she would perish soon. She warned him that she would not take without consent. Daniel felt the cold air press against his thoughts. Feeding sounded dangerous, yet she lay collapsed before him with fading strength. The way she spoke carried honesty. He sensed she had tried to avoid harming anyone aboard the ship before whatever catastrophe struck them. He sensed she wanted to live without inflicting damage. Humanity had always believed that courage meant choosing compassion, even in the unknown. He weighed the risks for only a moment. Then he nodded. She stared at him with disbelief. Her eyes widened with a haunted fear, as though she expected him to reject her and leave her. But when he repeated the gesture with firmness, she made a quiet sound that resembled gratitude. Daniel removed one glove and extended his arm. She hesitated. Her breath shook. Then she gently held his hand. She bowed her head and touched her lips to his skin. When she fed, she did not pierce him with violence. Her species possessed a way of drawing energy that caused no tearing or injury. He felt only a draining chill and a distant pulse of warmth. It made him dizzy, but not harmed. When she finished, she pulled away instantly. She examined him with deep concern. She touched his wrist with careful fingers, ensuring he remained stable. He steadied himself and nodded again. Strength returned to her body with visible speed. The glow of her markings brightened. She rose to her knees and then to her feet with slow grace. For a moment, she simply stared at him with an emotion he could not name. Then she spoke. She told him her name was Myra. She said she owed him her life. He told her he only did what any human would have done. She answered that no being had ever shown her such trust. When the trembling of the floor signaled instability in the vessel, Daniel urged Myra to follow him. She walked beside him with silent steps, as though she still balanced on the edge of disbelief. The ship groaned under stress. The damage from whatever disaster struck earlier had reached a critical point. They navigated corridors that shifted with metal screams. Myra used her knowledge of the ship's structure to find safer paths. Daniel relied on his experience with collapsing environments to calculate timing and reinforce weak sections or move past dangerous areas before they failed. Together they escaped moments before the structure imploded behind them. They reached the exit hatch. Daniel signaled his shuttle. The small craft descended through drifting debris. Myra glanced at him with uncertainty, unsure if humans would accept her. He assured her she would be safe. When they boarded the shuttle, she sat across from him with rigid posture. She did not speak until they left the derelict ship far behind. She asked why he helped someone he did not know. He explained that humans believed in giving others a chance to survive and to prove who they were. She listened with intensity, as though studying a philosophy she had never heard before. When Daniel landed at the human outpost, he requested medical assistance from Myra. The doctors approached cautiously, but she cooperated. They ran scans while asking Daniel discreet questions about her nature. He kept his answers honest, yet respectful, emphasizing that she posed no danger without extreme deprivation. He also noted that her feeding method did not cause injury. Over the next days, Myra remained under observation. She adapted quickly to the environment, but refused to feed again, despite the doctors offering safe monitoring. She insisted she would not take more from Daniel. She said her strength would last until she found an alternative source. Daniel visited daily. Each time she greeted him with calm yet unwavering focus, as though she studied every change in his expression to understand his intentions. One evening the outpost lights dimmed due to a power allocation shift. Daniel found Myra seated near a window, watching the stars drift in pale rivers. She asked him to explain humanity, not the technology or the politics, but the nature of human choices. She asked why humans chose courage in the face of danger, why they offered trust before fear, why they placed value in the unknown. Daniel chuckled softly and said that humans had learned through struggle to rise when pushed down and to reach when surrounded by darkness. He said fear existed in all beings, but humans often chose to move through fear rather than surrender to it. Myra listened with an expression that grew heavier with each word. She confessed that her species had once believed similarly, but long years of conflict forced them into isolation. Their feeding nature made others fear them. Many worlds rejected them. Her people survived by avoiding contact and by taking only what they needed in secret. She admitted that she had expected Daniel to strike her down or abandon her the moment he realized what she was. But he had not. He told her that he saw her as someone who wanted to live without harming others. That alone was enough. Her voice softened. She said that when she touched his arm, she felt not only physical energy, but something deeper. She felt the courage of a human heart. She felt a willingness to protect even at personal risk. She said that such strength moved her in ways she had never known. She said she had sworn silently that she would repay that trust. Soon after, Human Command received a request for Daniel to return to space for another scouting mission. They approved Myra to join him as a cooperative extraterrestrial ally. She accepted without hesitation. The outpost had expected her to behave as a guest, yet she chose to walk beside Daniel as though she owed him more than temporary cooperation. Their journey across the stars brought them to abandoned stations, fractured moons, and quiet sectors where lost signals drifted like ghosts. Myra proved invaluable during missions. Her enhanced senses detected threats before they approached. She could read faint energy trails and locate survivors hidden behind debris. She used her strength rarely and with restraint. Daniel trusted her fully. During moments when the ship entered long travel drifts, they spoke for hours. Myra shared stories of her people. Daniel shared stories of human resilience. She admired the stubborn hope of his species. He admired the depth beneath her quiet demeanor. They grew close through understanding rather than urgency. One mission brought them to a planet covered in violet fog. A survivor beacon pulsed weakly from the surface. Daniel and Myra descended. The air tasted metallic. The ground cracked underfoot like thin ice. They searched for the source, but encountered a creature formed of shifting crystalline shards. It struck with silent speed. Daniel dodged, but the ground crumbled beneath him. He fell into a fissure. Myra leaped after him without hesitation. She caught him before he hit the bottom. The impact drained her stamina. The crystal creature approached, and there was no space to flee. Myra stood between Daniel and the advancing threat. She battled it with fierce precision. She shielded Daniel from every blow, even when shards cut across her glowing markings and dimmed her energy. When the creature reshaped to attack again, she found herself weakened. She warned Daniel that she lacked the strength to counter without feeding. She refused to take from him again. She said she would rat.